16th century galleon. Might be an old slave galley, or by the looks of this old cannon, one of King Philip's armada, the kind that brought those Spanish conquistadores to the New World. Many of these boats were sent to the bottom then, attacked by buccaneers who lurked around Tortuga Island just off Santo Domingo. It takes a heap of chopping and hammering to break through this layer of coral and barnacle. It's been accumulating through the centuries, but you can still see the outlines of the mighty anchor. This is Davy Jones' locker. Just look at all the cannons strewn on this ocean bed. Here's one with the letter P embossed on it. That backs up my hunch about King Philip of Spain. What's that? A human skull, captain or cabin boy, another secret of the deep. Shark, gliding along like torpedoes and just as deadly. We were so absorbed investigating that old wreck that we forgot to keep a lookout, and now it's too late. Sharks will strike at anything white which moves in the water. Our only chance is to stand motionless and hope they won't notice us, but it's the hardest thing we've ever had to do. Shark have the most rapacious appetites of anything in the sea and swim the ocean ceaselessly in search of food. Now watch this shark grab a fish. This is stuff that even Hollywood can't duplicate. But these sharks are getting closer and closer. There are a dozen monsters in this water. There's one with some pilot fish swimming under him. They wait for any scraps which might drop from those cruel jaws when the shark feeds. Brother, that was close. Here's my attention. It turns out to be a maze of black grottos, and out of the mysterious depths, several huge moray eels peer out with wicked eyes. These eels hide and wait for their prey, then strike as it swims by. And everywhere the sea plants and grasses and shrubs wave in a slow, sinuous rhythm. The boys up above have tossed some bait overboard, and as it floats down, a swarm of fish are galvanized into action. They demonstrate their marvelous sense of smell and their savage. When they decide to strike, they do it like lightning. The boys above tell us they've worked out a scheme, and they're going to let down a baited line. Take it, you man-eating sea wolf, take it. There was a hook in that bait, and now Antonio and the others play it smart. If they can keep the bluefin thrashing around, the others might be scared away by the commotion, and we might have a chance to come up safely. The killer churns about hard enough to frighten every shark in the Caribbean. He's crazy mad with that hook in his mouth. And now one of the boys lets him have it with a harpoon. They haul him in close for a preliminary view. Pretty, huh? That will give you the kind of an idea of the weapons they carry. Here's a catch for you, striped marlin, swordfish on a smaller scale. Doug is mighty proud of this one. He fans out the large dorsal fin, and we see that our marlin is a member of the sailfish family. But wait, looks like the swordfish has company. Yep, the marlin is playing host to a remora, just plain suckerfish to you, and he's a guest that hates to leave. Watch it slither over the marlin's body, strictly a parasite, this remora, living on a dainty diet of sea lice and the blood which it sucks through the skin of its landlord. He's got a very effective suction cup, and lining that cup there's a whole mess of tiny needles. Ouch, see what we mean? There's a better view and less painful, and also the birth of another idea by Professor Campbell. Why should Doug fish the easy way when he can do it the hard way? Set a fish to catch a fish. Doug sends the remora to hunt for a new home, only the remora doesn't know there are strings attached to this deal. And before long, he settles down smack on the head of a lovely nurse shark. The point is, will the suckerfish hold on? No, Doug gives the line too much slack and the suction didn't hold. But dauntless Douglas tries again. And now the remora forms an attachment for another small shark, the beginning of a lovely friendship, in fact, the kiss of death. Doug has to really concentrate on this experiment. The idea is to make sure that the correct end of the shark is grabbed. Mr. Shark, who doesn't like suckerfish, doesn't like experiments, and doesn't like this whole silly business, puts up a vigorous fight. More than once, Doug is afraid he'll never be able to say, "I told you it could be done." But he lands it. Here's the triggerfish with one of the strangest of defensive weapons. When the triggerfish is chased by a larger fish, the spear springs up. The fish stops short, and the spear rips the pursuer's belly. He's got a mighty sharp tooth, too, and these small jaws pack a lot of power. They need strong jaws to bite off pieces of coral, the main dish on their diet. Watch them go after the minnows in that bottle. That little experiment is just another one of Doug Campbell's brain children. One more way to annoy the fish. A couple of giant moray eels about 8 inches in diameter, that's about the thickness of a man's thigh, trying to force themselves into a monster clamshell. These fellows are very dangerous to a diver. When they take a hold of a man underwater, they twist like a snake. They'll break an arm or leg if you try to wrestle with them. We're keeping a sharp lookout for sharks because they come up so suddenly they're on top of you before you know it. And now we're going to show you some of the weird fish of the silver shoals. Why start with a scrubby little bush? Well, that's not a little bush, and those fluffy creatures are not flower blossoms. They're called tube worms, and the delicate plant-like tentacles emanate from the tube worm's mouth, drawing in nourishment from the microscopic animal life in the seawater. Stunningly colored in greens, reds, and purples, it's hard to believe they're not flowers. You all know what this is. It's a seahorse, one of the remaining links with prehistoric times. They swim by undulating a single fin in the middle of their back. You can usually find them on the bottom, clinging to the sea plants by their prehensile tails, which they used when they were land animals way back in the dim past of evolution. This thing staring at us like a good-natured one-eyed nightmare is called an argonaut, related to the octopus and the squid. But Mrs. Argonaut has a hard shell in which she lays 50,000 eggs at a time. Some sea slugs resemble flowers, but they are fish with stomach, gills, and fins. This one is called a chrysanthemum fish, and it certainly looks like the flower of the same name. Try and top this one. It's called a teffy. That's the mouth, and he uses those huge lips as a means of swimming. The sea butterfly, 2 feet long, weirdly colored in green and purple, fluttering through the seawater just like the insects we know on land. Hylia, looking ever so much like a squadron of pursuit planes warming up on the runway. Ah, there's one of them taking off. The wonders of the deep continue to unfold. Here we have the rosy feathered starfish, weird and spidery. How would you like to have that follow you home on a dark night? And here's the rarest of them all, the invisible fish called the girdle of Venus. It looks like a graveyard apparition, yet it's a living, breathing fish, almost invisible normally, but brought into clear view with our special cameras, 10 inches wide, 40 inches long, able to swim forward or backward. The Symphonophora is a fish that goes fishing, and he carries his fishing tackle along with him. Those long tendrils hanging from its jelly-like body are actually fishing lines. Each line has a nervous system, and it's covered with sticky beads. And when tiny forms of sea life bump against the beads, it trips the nervous system, causing the beads to click together and the food is trapped. The tendril then absorbs the food, and it passes up to one of the Symphonophora's 24 separate stomachs. Nature has devised some remarkable means of protecting the smaller and less active of her children, as illustrated by this puffer fish, which blows up on its own wind. Once it balloons itself up, larger and stronger fish can't swallow it whole. And here are 3 wind bags lying around and inflating. And here's one with sharp spines, too. Any fish who tried swallowing this would get a sensation not unlike that of swallowing an inflated pincushion. When they inflate enough, they get so tight-skinned and transparent you can see the water they swallow with the air. To show you how far a puffer fish can puff, we'll tickle this one just a little. We decided to have more fun and brought these babies up on deck. A couple of small leopard sharks swim into view, and right below them, their mortal enemy, the giant lobster. There's trouble brewing here. Sure enough, old man lobster's got a chip on his shoulder and a leopard shark in his big nipper. Here's another contestant for Superman, a 4-foot electric ray. Our lobster's in for a shocking surprise. Mr. Lobster is still looking for a scrap, and he's going to get one. This time, it's a male octopus, a guy who's plenty pugnacious himself, able to jab with his right, his left, and 6 other arms. But he lets go a cloud of black fluid and gets away. Now the lobster is after the mate of the octopus, which is smaller and more his size. The octopus has a sharp, beak-like mouth, which is as dangerous to those swarming tentacles. That lobster is being crushed like matchwood. It takes more than a tough lobster shell to withstand the relentless pressure of those 8 tentacles when they're locked in an ever-tightening embrace of death. Over there to the left, we've seen someone dug out races for shore. But the other one's in trouble. They can't haul in the line, and the manta fouls it. The boys go overboard. Right smack into the path of that beast. The monster is now dragging the boat behind it like a cockle shell. All the boys swimming like mad for safety. The manta has the empty skiff in his clutches, and he pulls it through the water as if... But look, there's a man being dragged with that boat, one of the divers. He must have got caught in the line, and he's helpless. A desperate tug of war is going on out there, with all the odds and all the weight on one side, the manta rays. That boy's been dragged below the surface, and he's trying desperately to cut himself loose. We've launched one of our boats. Antonio takes care. The huge manta recoils from the stinging blow. He threshes out in a convulsion of fury. He rushes up like a juggernaut, just under the water's surface. The diver's free, but now we're dragged in his wake. The fury of the beast is boundless. Those harpoons are being twisted like pins in his tough hide. One should finish him, but they only seem to enrage him more. Again and again we hurl our harpoons. This devilfish doesn't weigh pounds, he weighs tons. We're fighting tons of concentrated rage. We keep up our desperate barrage of harpoons, keep hurling them until the sea is red with blood, keep hurling them until the manta begins to weaken. Yes, he's ours now, and now that the beast has been subdued, we realize that once more we felt the chilling closeness of death. And as we tow the devilfish back to shore, we feel that we've done a good deed in ridding the sea of some of its terror. Hauling in the manta is a man-sized job. In fact, it's a job for 13 men. It's almost as if the scourge of the sea is resisting final capture. Before long, the giant sea bat moves out of his domain and into the world of humans. This one is truly a giant manta ray and measures 20 feet across and is 3 feet thick. Finally, we rig up a block and tackle, and inch by inch, the sea reluctantly gives up its giant. The cavernous mouth is at least 3 feet wide, large enough for a man to disappear into. And, just to give you a concrete illustration, this young boy is lost between those giant, brutal lips. And nature has added another fearful touch, the manta ray's tail, a natural whip that carries death in its lash. He's one of Davy Jones' most powerful fish, a mighty warlord of the submarine world, and he carries this great symbol of the sea as his badge of office. It's the mark of the devil. He is truly King Manta Ray the Terrible. We're on our way home now. The boys are on the lookout for marlin. Reggie yells and points, and there we see a gleaming fin. And we know that the owner of it is nothing less than a marlin, a swordfish, the sportingest big game fishermen can hope to find. We've got a line out now, and the marlin's after it. He's cutting back and forth, but will he take it? Yep, it's a strike, and the line races out. He's off with the speed of an express train, broaching every few feet. There he goes, crashing the surface again and again. Ernie's pumping like mad. He's shooting up like a comet, spinning like a giant top. Ernie gets back a few more feet. Now it's a matter of wearing down the swordfish. Ah, brother, this is sport. Win, lose, or draw, this is the sport of kings. The number of leaps that marlin makes is incredible. Still fighting, still defying us to bring him in. And now the marlin is trying something new. Watch him shake his head. He's trying to get rid of the bait and get away from that tugging line. Now he's turned and is charging the boat, still trying to shake that bait loose. He's off again, turning, twisting, whirling like a dervish, and all the time he's fighting at that line, trying to tear it loose. And there, it looks as if he were throwing the bait. He has. He's thrown the bait and the hook, too. Thrown it clear. And with a mighty leap, he's free. We'd kidded Ernie so much about letting that marlin get away that he offered to bet he'd land this one with his bare hands. Okay, Ernie, you've not only got a bet, but you've got another marlin on your line. So let's see you land him bare-handed. There's plenty of power in that fish, and he's actually towing the boat. And now Ernie's trying to make good on his bet, but it's not as simple as he thought. First, he's got to grab him somewhere, but I don't think this is the end to work on. By gosh, he's got him by the tail and halfway into the boat, too. Hold on to him, boy. Those babies are slippery. Too bad, he got away, but the gaff line is still on him, and this time Ernie grabs the business end. Watch that sword, Ernie. It's a dangerous weapon to fool around with. I've seen marlin drive those swords right through the side of a boat. He's away again. Ernie's still in there pitching. You've got to admit that boy's trying. Ernie's decided to stop fooling around and settle down to business. But I'll be darned if I can see how he's going to get a fish that size in single-handed. Hey, Ernie, I don't think that's such a good idea. I know I'd hate to have a swordfish in that position. And don't let him fool you, son. He's got a lot more fight left in him. Watch it, Ernie. Watch it. Round 4 now coming up of the Battle of the Briny Deep between the bare-handed Wonder and long-nosed Louie the swordfish. By golly, Ernie's done it. He's actually got him in the boat and with his bare hands, too. Hey, Ernie, better get a hammerlock on him. No, not on that end. That's not the end, Ernie. That's not the end. This is the end.